Hold
honestly,
on, hold on, hold on. Let's back it up. Like, why don't you tell everybody
was well,
why
that's
we're doing a round two right
do your
now?
intro. That's my
Oh, you want me to
segue.
do the intro?
Yeah, do your
All right,
intro. Are you
all
ready
right.
to start, or do you want to get some little giggles out? Because I got her giggling and shit, chat.
No, I got giggles all day. I'm in a mood today.
You're in a
I'm in a mood
mood.
today.
Start us off, and then you can giggle. Damn, that was fun. Hold on, someone
Was
edit that. Chat, edit that.
was that good?
Yeah, that was good. All right.
All
I'll shut
right,
up. You got it. Go.
all right. Hold on. I scripted this a little bit earlier, so
Cool.
I gotta think about it for a second. Like once it's in front of me, I forget everything that I'm supposed to
Mwah.
say. What?
I'm waiting
What? What are you waiting for?
for you to start.
I'm on your podcast.
You're up. Oh shit. Hey y'all. So this is my podcast now. We had like a little like merger agreement. The Open Dome podcast is under new management after 6 wonderful episodes. It is now no longer Sela. I'm just doing what any man does when a woman is doing something great for herself. I fucking snatch it and make it
You
mine.
fuck it all up. Fuck it all up. That's crazy.
Hold on, before you start, I know you were like bummed I didn't show you my painting. I wanted to take the time
I
to
wasn't
show you
even
now.
bummed. I was like, I was.
It's not the best. It's really not the best. You can laugh at me. It is
No,
funny.
I'm not. I promise. I'm
Trust me, in my head, this looked so much doper, and then once the paintbrush came out, just did not hit.
not.
It looks like a stepped on milk dud
Oh,
into like an oil spill. You know, like oil in the sunlight reflects all those colors. Kind of looks like me though. I'm not gonna lie. Fine.
that's
Type shit.
type shit.
I'm
Same,
kind of
same.
artsy. I kind of artsy.
Like,
I
okay. What's up, you guys? We're here with the Open Dome podcast. I'm here with a special guest today. This is Dillon. If you don't know Dillon, that would make sense because I found him in the lost and found bins on TikTok.
bro, that's an accurate way to describe me. No, she's. If you don't know me, I wouldn't be surprised, guys, because I don't even know her, and she don't even know me.
So
Socially through the internet, that's all I can understand.
that's
But
super
it's
dry, if you ask me.
hey, we gotta warm up, warm up. We
I was just reading your shirt.
bro, hey, I promise y'all we're serious. Like, no, this is like super genuine. I'm so glad we've crossed paths, no matter if it was in person or on the internet, because like she said, to find someone you could yap with or like gets you on that frequency, it's more than just okay, like this person understands me. It's actually so much more valuable that I have a space to where I feel like I can explore those thoughts or those blocks, and knowing that there's someone else who's creating pretty much the same content as me out there helping other people, like when you can get two perspectives together on one common purpose, like that's the beauty of it, and
Yeah.
that's what we both are doing, like creating communities to where maybe we have to be that brave face and search for those words, search for that processing. But I don't know how much I'm going to help people just off this alone, just off of one DM from Sela saying, "Hey, we should do a podcast," and me being terrified because that's just like so random. But just saying,
I'm a random bitch. That's the thing.
I can curse. Okay, cool. My
Never let him know
response to
what's
that,
next, dude.
I got that message, and my response was, "Fuck it, we ball." And like that's going to be
Yeah.
that has to be the motto of this. It has to be the title of this episode. Fuck it, we ball.
I'll think
If I could hog the spotlight for just a second, I just want to take time to say thank you for whatever it was, whether it was like the words I said that resonated with you, my energy. I think this is going to do so well for other people. I think us coming together, the topics we're going to dive into, I think whether you're on your way to work or you're just listening to our lovely voices with your morning coffee, whether we spark inspiration or help you work through something you have been just stuck on mentally, I'm grateful for this opportunity. I'm grateful for the space, and we're going to take full advantage of it. Something I want to say that is kind of a cool segue. We tried to do this last night. I'm
why
sure
why
you
don't you
saw.
tell them
Yeah.
why we're doing a take two right
So
now?
so this is actually Sila's fault since she's letting me tell this.
Wow! That's incorrect.
I'm telling the
Big
story.
red button.
I'm telling the story. I'm controlling the narrative right now. It was Sila's fault.
Dude,
No.
that's a lie.
What's crazy, it's my fault 100%, but just in the sake of exactly why we talk the way we do, how our minds think, I'm about to show you the overarching theme and like the lesson for this. It is so serendipitous for what we're doing right now. We spent an hour diving into some serious topics, and I mean, incredible conversation, incredible breakthroughs and insight. None of it got recorded because 15 minutes into, and I promise you, Sela was hitting the flow state. It was incredible. My AirPod died, and when I took the AirPod out, the recording stopped, and we had no idea. So we just had like great yap sesh. I think
But
it
it
was a
works
great.
because I think now, like, we've crossed that point of being, like, total internet strangers, and now
We're
you're
familiar.
stuck with me forever.
Wait, forever? I that was.
Probably, yeah.
Are you gonna edit that out? That wasn't part of the deal.
No, no, because that's what no, hear me out, right? That is listen, listen, that's what the open dome is all about, and,
Once you open it, you can't close it. Hey guys, so I'm gonna start my own
this
podcast
is a
after this.
wormhole, actually. Yeah, okay. So, no, but on the real though, like after, recording with you and even just recording with, the homie a couple days ago, this is fresh. This is super fresh for me. This is something that I've been wanting to do for years, years. And for a long time, I always thought I was supposed to start a podcast with a person. I actually had multiple people lined up to start a podcast and
Shit.
it just never worked out. It never flowed. Eventually, I got to this point where it's like, well, I'm kind of sick of writing in a journal all the time,
All I'm hearing is
like
she had a
this
roster. Sorry, I had to. We'll
is
we'll cut
why
we'll cut that out. We'll cut
yeah,
that out.
that's good that's getting cut. They're never gonna know.
That's for the
Um,
bloopers. Yeah,
but
you got it.
but the whole thing is,
You thought you needed to start with someone. That's pick it up from there.
I did I wanted to start I wanted to start it with somebody. I always felt like I could bounce off of somebody else really well. And eventually I started, making content about a year ago now on TikTok and like seeing that sort of grow into its own community. It's just brought a lot of inspiration through that. I never knew I could have a platform with people that it's not even about those people supporting it. It's just it feels like community. Like I remember one of the first videos that blew up on there and seeing just thousands of comments of people being able to relate to a lot of what I was talking about, and that was just me, like, openly expressing, like, a truth of mine based on, personal experiences,
And it's
And, like,
always something you don't even think about being that
you think it's
impactful.
so small, but and that's the thing too, I don't make the content I make because I feel like I want to make an impact. I share
Mm,
that because that's, like, the most like, that's how I express myself,
mm.
is, like, by sharing my stories, by sharing my truths, because I spent so much time in my head, analyzing everything and being an overthinker and, like, being the person that
Speak on it.
I'm always diving deeper inside of myself to like find the answers and find the meanings and find, where neutrality sits in between all these things. How can this relate to other people, And once you find those things and you're able to express that, it's amazing like how many people relate. And that's like the most beautiful thing I think I've ever experienced because that's like a whole different type of being able to connect to people. Right.
I wanna stop you right there. I love the thought you're going, and this is gonna spark it. Because of that, you taking this thought or this experience that you didn't think was that big or that relatable or relevant, do you think that because so many people resonate with you, that it's because we are part of, like, a collective consciousness and
Absolutely.
certain people, maybe you, maybe me, we are those conduits of, like, letting that collective consciousness come out and be expressed so those
Mhm.
people that are just
I like that.
dormant or silent can actually have a voice to like grab onto and feel seen.
That
Yeah?
that No,
Speak
100%. You
on
know
that.
why?
Speak
Because
on
it's
that.
like, if you really think about this makes me think of an analogy, and then I'll say this, and then I'll get back to, the whole point as or I guess the long-term flavor of the Open Dome podcast and where I see that going, right? But, to bounce off of that, I think each and every one of us I almost look at us like little jawbreakers. And at the core of all of us, like the center of a jawbreaker, it's like that exists underneath all of these other layers. And it takes time to like get to the core of that jawbreaker, right? And I think every single one of us is the same that way. So if you really think about it, like there's so many experiences we can experience in life, whether it's circumstantial, whether it's intentional, whether, we happen to stumble across these micro moments in time that spark inspiration and guide us towards a deeper part of ourselves. And
Strangers on the
every
internet.
time exactly, there you go, right? But every time you experience one or more of these things, I think that's like we're peeling back a layer of ourselves to get closer to the core of who we are.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, come on.
Flavorful,
Yes.
flavorful, you feel me? So
Yes.
when you think about it like that, my cat just crawled through the mini line.
PhD, guys. That's
No,
always
he's
prevalent.
so I guess the point I'm trying to make there is when you look at it like that,
The layers. I see what you're saying. I wanna just add to that real quickly. I love that the metaphor or the analogy, you said jawbreakers because yeah, you grabbing him?
no, 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 he's
Oh,
safe,
okay.
he's safe.
Uh, I love the analogy of jawbreakers because I think by default, jawbreakers, when I think of it, are hard, rock solid. And
Right, right.
I feel like most of life, our experiences, we start off small. We start off just soft, sensitive, open to the world. And just by our environment, how we're nurtured, how we're raised, what we perceive throughout the world, just naturally forms us into these jawbreakers. And
Hardens. It hardens
hardens,
over time,
and
yeah.
we fight so hard to be like, "What is my purpose? What am I meant to do?" And we don't realize that through the lens of the world, we've calloused over what we already know, and so
Oh my
those 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 experiences we go through, like you said, it whittles down, peels back the layers, eventually gets so small that you realize all the experiences you've gone through have been to shed those layers to bring you back to the core, to bring you back to you. But you can't do that unless you have someone first, recognize that you're a jawbreaker or like not to make it weird, but like
right,
you
right.
need someone to lick you down.
Okay.
The jawbreaker, like, you know,
You
cut that
it's
out.
valid. I'm not going
But
to
you
because
but you get what I'm saying.
1000%. I
Okay.
honestly I love this is kind of what's beautiful about these experiences that I know are gonna grow over time with people like yourself and so many others. Like my vision for the Open Dome podcast, which is very new. This wasn't even a vision I had when I started it. I just knew like innately that I needed to start it.
Mm,
Not with somebody else. It was just like get it out there, start it. Yeah, I don't even
I've
like
got
the
I've
podcast
got something.
episodes I have on there because I'm like, I don't really know, like, sometimes I'll just have these thoughts. I'm like, "You know what? Instead of writing it in a journal, I'm just gonna say it out loud, and I don't really care how it sounds." But with these couple interactions thus far, like, opening up that doorway into this, like, new and improved version of the Open Door podcast, right? Taking people like yourself, people like my homie Gage, and the many more people that are gonna be on this podcast. What's so beautiful to me about it my favorite aspect to this is I think a lot of people are anticipating, going onto this podcast channel on Spotify, right? Opening up these podcast episodes and they're almost like expecting just straight into like these deep topics that are going to like open their mind and this and that. But like little do these people realize that there's so much humor and so much raw, real like truth and expression and like that's what I want this to become. I want this to be
Mm,
that space where people like yourself, right?
mm,
People like myself can feel confident and comfortable to just straight out the gate, just be who they really are, not
mhm,
worry about what's being said, not worry about who's cutting what out. Like, express yourself, right? And it
mm.
doesn't matter necessarily the conversations that end up being had on here because what's beautiful, and even in my experience having conversations with you over the last couple days, right? We can bounce back between like the depth, the
Quantum
and
physics
like
and metaphysics, and then
dick jokes.
straight to dick jokes.
But
You
that's
could have said any other type of joke, but yeah, like,
okay. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll back it up.
no, shit,
Metaphysics,
right there.
quantum science, religion, God, values,
SpongeBob,
attachment styles. Yes.
SpongeBob. I did.
And then just, it's and I think I grew up around a lot of people. Not only did I never feel like I don't even think I knew I had a personality until I, created that version of myself, that character over time based on like what
100.
I wanted to experience.
I wanna dive into what you just said about the like, I think there's so much intelligence that goes into being able to hold space, to have, like, the mental capacity to dive deep, talk about a topic that just is coming out of left field or that no one is gonna say in your daily life, and then
Mhm.
still be able to have the capacity to, like, take a second and breathe and find a way to laugh or find a way to joke. There's so much intelligence there and I feel like we go through so much in our life to where we only get one or the other. You know what I'm saying? Like we can only show up for this specific time and we rarely get both sides of it. It's
Mm.
it's therapeutic in its own sense, and to see the long-term vision of the Open Dome podcast, like, don't think a lot of people are doing that. I don't think a lot of people are creating a podcast with the concept of, "Yes, we're going to talk about deep topics," because it's
Mm,
not that you're making the podcast to be about deep topics or to be about the experiences and the growth or the journey. You're actually
right.
making a podcast to allow people
To
the
hold
chance.
space.
Yeah,
And well,
hold
and think
space.
about it, I think it's cool. I remember there was a day I was hiking and I was kind of sitting on this podcast idea for a minute, and I was trying to come up with, like, a title for it.
Mm,
And it was after I
hardest
made
part
a
of anything.
video. It really is, and I was thinking about the video I made not even that long ago, and it was about kind of like timeline shifting, and, like, I was kind of painting the picture of, like, what it's really like when you're existing in this time and space, and you're basically I used a dome as an example, and cracking the dome as, sort of this, like, feeling of initiation, or, I wouldn't even know how to reinterpret that, but essentially, like, when you crack out of your dome, like the dome I'm in right now, the dome you're in right now, you're in this little dome, and that's what I'm using sort of, I guess, to describe a timeline,
You're
right?
talking about a barrier. The
It's a
base, like,
barrier, and if you think about the timeline you're in right now, and this is a whole super deep topic for another time, another conversation, but, the timeline I'm in right now has a specific set of possibilities that exist within the timeline I'm in, but once I crack that dome through my beliefs, or by acknowledging little things like,
uh,
once I recognize that I'm thinking of something a certain way and that's the truth that I'm holding on to, and I question that idea, or I question that
mm,
belief. Like, maybe I'm accepting the bare minimum in my relationships, and that exists under this dome. That's a part of this set of possibilities, right? There's a
mm,
certain set of possibilities that exist in this dome, and then once I change that belief, it's like throwing a rock at the dome barrier, and it cracks it. And the more you crack it by questioning the current beliefs that you have, that gives you access into, like, essentially stepping into a new dome or a different timeline, and that's when we make those timeline shifts. So
ooh,
that's kind of where I got this idea, because I'm picturing, it's even the podcast art that I made. It's like a little island inside of a dome, and the dome's cracked. And if you think about it, it's like to me, it's like, there's so much that exists inside of all of us, but not everybody has this ability to just, like, so freely let it out, and that's what drives this for what it is. I think you know this creates a space for you to, it's not about making you comfortable. I never did anything to make you comfortable, but you feel comfortable here because we're both showing up authentically, and there's no judgment.
mm,
There's
mm.
no, "This is my belief, what's yours?" There's no, "Why do you think that way when we should be thinking this way?" That's not what this is about, right?
Oh,
This is my life, these are my stories, this is how I think, this is how I feel. Bounce off of it.
and I and we bounce off the dome, literally. I
Yeah.
think I think
Right.
I wanna highlight as you were talking, I think what's 2 things. 1, a lot of people don't have the courage to look up, and 2, and or have the courage to look up and recognize that they are in that dome, that they're operating in the dome, and 2, how much courage it takes to throw a rock at it, to confront it, to crack it,
Absolutely. Ooh, I have
to
so
let the
dude.
outside in, because if we wanna talk about the dome further, it is a container, and when I think of a dome, I think of, like, a utopia, a
Mhm.
place where you have constructed your bubble, you've constructed your way of life to be one thing, to operate under one set of rules, operate under one agreed upon cultural guideline,
Mhm.
parameters, and it's funny that the outcasts, the ones that always get demonized, the ones that are the problems, the problem child, the troublemakers, are the ones that are throwing the stones at the dome, or actually have the gift, the blessing to be able to see it for what it is and see that there's something else out there. Like you, me, we're sitting here going,
Yeah,
we're tapping on the glass going, hey, there's a whole nother word out here. There's a whole nother
yeah.
world. And
We're looking through the glass, but other people think it's the wall,
other people don't even see
you
the
know?
wall sometimes, and
Yeah. Which
that's
is
going
okay
on
because
internally. That's going on
right.
internally in each and every one of us because of so many factors. I feel like we could have a whole episode on diving in on, like, "Hey, what do
Oh,
you
of
think are
course.
the
And we
3
will. We will.
events and memories that have contributed to what your personality is or why you think this or why you react?" We could go so far into that.
Yeah,
I didn't know all that. I didn't know the full story of Dome, the open dome. To me, it meant so much more, or it meant something different, but to hear your
mm,
explanation of it like that, that's powerful. That's powerful and definitely, like, relatable. So, I'm glad
I'm glad you
to hear
think
it.
so. You're
So,
here.
I know we don't have a structure with this, but I actually had
I'm loving it.
a list of questions kinda to, like, ask you to spark debate, spark conversation. Before I do that, it just kinda hit me, like, I know we already, like, segued the podcast, but, like, last night,
Yeah.
the whole, like, "Damn, we lost all this footage," all that, there's a lesson in that. Like,
Let me have
y
it. Let
okay.
me hear it.
You've already said you didn't know what the podcast how you wanted to start the podcast, you just knew the podcast needed to start.
Mhm.
You showed up, like, God brought it to you and said, "Sela, like, put it on your heart that a podcast needed to happen." And instead of you going like, "Well, I need A, B, C, and D first," or like, "I need to make sure I know how it's gonna be recorded, how I'm gonna show up in it, what I'm gonna say, what the concept is." Instead of putting it in a dome, you went straight through it in the exact essence of the name, Open Dome. You cracked through it and just said, "Let's go. Okay, what do I need? I need to record it with a video phone. Cool. Do it." And even though it did not work out last night, the lesson is we gained clarity because we went through it. We just showed up. It might have been a
Ooh,
fail. Yeah,
ooh,
right,
that's a
right.
good one. Okay.
It might have been a fail.
Wasn't because we still ended up in the same place.
Yes. Yeah, we still ended up
All
exactly
roads
where
lead to the same outcome, am I wrong?
thing hit
Video
me.
on this
Just hit me,
yesterday.
man.
Yesterday or this morning. I just made
Just
a video about this.
what did you
So
do you
sick.
remember what you said? Like, do you
I
remember,
was
like, what
literally talking about it. Okay, so like I prefaced this video as like I basically used the analogy like without for lack of better descriptions here. You know, it was talking about how life is a numbers game, and, like, there's something valuable about getting the reps in and, like, doing something over and over and over and over again. However, this is where I was playing devil's advocate a little bit because I was thinking about the times in my life, which I think I was possibly talking about this, like, in my tattoo career, for example. Maybe I was talking to somebody else. I don't remember. Maybe I mentioned it. Like how for like the first 4 years of my life, like I was just repeating this, vicious cycle of like the way I worked, the way I burdened myself with work, and it wasn't anything that contributed to the direction I'm going in now. Like I had to restart my entire career essentially, which isn't to say that, failure involved in like climbing the ladder and stuff like that. Like that's an important part of life regardless. And that's why, one of my favorite quotes is the average person no, the successful person fails more times than the average person has tried, right? So, like, that's where I sit with that heavy, like, that weighs on my heart heavy, and I because I have spent my entire life failing, like, everything I do now is a byproduct of my failure. I have failed a lot. I have learned everything in my life the hard way. I can honestly say that. Like, I don't remember a single point in my life where I learned something drastic that changed me forever. That wasn't me learning something the hard way, right? But, the point that I made in this video was that without deliberate intention or having a vision for yourself that wasn't composed of other people's ideas and beliefs, putting in the reps and playing the numbers game is equivalent to flipping burgers at a fast food joint.
Mm,
Where are you going with that?
mhm.
Why are you flipping those burgers? How much of that are you gonna do before you wear yourself thin and you realize that you've been climbing a ladder leading to somebody else's door that blocks their name on it, you know? And it's essentially like working for somebody else or, playing out somebody else's dream and it's not yours.
Uh,
So,
I talk about that a lot. I
yeah,
talk
it's
about it a
it's like
lot in my
it's
videos.
like, yes, so much weight, so much value, so much importance in recognizing that everything is a numbers game and you've gotta keep putting in the effort regardless. But if it's not your vision to begin with, when you get to the top of that mountain, which is inevitable because you're playing a numbers game,
Yeah,
you might get to the top of or I guess the top of that ladder rather, and realize that the only place to go from there is back down because
because
there's no door with your name on it that you're gonna walk.
oh
Do you
my
feel me?
god,
Like,
yeah,
it's
because
right, but
you.
here's where I segued in that video was, imagine you're on, like, the most treacherous journey, like, in a desert for months on end. There's nothing to see, nothing to do, you just keep walking, okay? This is like the equivalence of you climbing that ladder with somebody else's name on it, or I guess you get what I'm saying, right? Like climbing that ladder for somebody else's dream, essentially. So you're taking that trek in the desert and you're doing it for months, and then you forget why you started walking in that direction in the first place because that vision was never yours to begin with. Somebody else gave it to you. It wasn't your vision. It wasn't your dream. And your dreams were never highlighted and validated enough for you to see the value in them. So you never took your dream as your own. You took somebody else's dream and you followed that path. Right. But then eventually along that trek, you get to a cliffside. I said this in the video. You get to this cliffside and you're overlooking it. You see a horizon, pretty sunset, whatever. And in the distance, you see this beautiful city with like crystal clear blue water around it, like something you haven't seen, you wouldn't expect to see it. You see it in the horizon, right? And all around it, you see there's like 100 different paths leading to that city. And it's
Mm,
not seeing the city that makes you realize that, like it's not the city that changes you when you look at it. It's not that you're not excited about the city. It's not about, you know,
birds.
it is and it isn't, right? It's about the destination when you realize that it's your ideal destination, like, it's your vision.
Mm,
It's your vision. When you step inside of that, you realize it's yours. Then that's you stepping back into alignment, and you realize that it doesn't matter what path you take to get there because all paths will guide you there. So back to what you were saying about our fuck up yesterday with with the video, right? Well, we still ended up in the same place, just not at the exact time we thought we would.
yeah,
You get what I'm saying? It didn't
yeah.
require like, do you get what I'm saying though? Like
Yes, I
when it's
definitely
vision, it's
understand.
your dream, all paths will take you there. So it doesn't matter how you get there or how long it takes or how many reps you're taking to get there. It's not even about playing the numbers game at that point because when you are in alignment and it's your vision, everything will bring you there
Mhm,
inevitably,
mhm.
right?
You have to
And
have the courage, though, to realize that, you're not actually pursuing your path or walking the path to the city you wanna go. Like,
yeah,
man, something hit me as you were saying that. Even no matter what, you could reach the success, like you said, you could reach that cliffside, you could reach the top of that ladder, but even success, if it's not defined by you, it'll never feel like success.
1000%.
Don't don't get caught up chasing someone else's definition of success. Even if it feels like that is what's meant for you or that's the easiest path, you will get to that cliffside. You will get to that mountain and it won't feel good. And you'll be somewhere else in life never failing. Like you the only it's like even when you succeed, that is going to be the only time in your life where you succeed and it'll still feel like a failure. But in my life, and if I look at what I've gone through in the times of my life, the seasons of my life where it is not making sense to anybody, those are the
Mm.
times where I felt like the most alive, when I felt like life was its
Yeah.
most tangible self. That is something to be said. That should be explored more. Like, when are you gonna fail more, bro? Like, what can you do better to fail at? Fail, fail, fail. And here's
Mhm.
the thing, we get so caught up on the word failure as if it's something
As if
concrete.
it's
But like, seriously, we get so caught up on, like, it's this concrete, definite, set in stone outcome, but last night, we coulda said was a failure, but it was a
nah.
trial run. We came out on the other end knowing, "Okay, this app is not the best one for us," or, "Okay, if we wanna use this app, we have to actually do this. We actually have to" you see what we got a lesson. But if
Mhm.
we were just gonna be like, "Oh, damn, we can't use that app, we can't do anything else. Well, how are we gonna do this?" This episode would have never came to fruition, you know what I'm saying?
I got a little bit more of a little sprinkle to add to that too.
Sprinkle sprinkle
I was
onto it.
really
Give
into
me
it.
give me
Okay.
yeah, top
Um,
it off. God, I had a question
no,
to get
wait.
to you with, and it's we're not gonna make it there. We're not even gonna make it to
We're
my
not gonna
question.
make it.
I love
No, it's
it,
okay.
which I
No, I
love.
love where this is
I love
going.
it.
I forgot my sprinkle.
Well, can I actually say something?
Yes,
I
please.
wanted to say it while you were talking. I I want to thank you for what you have gone through in life. It is so beautiful that you can confidently say with courage that you have failed a lot in your life and like to accept that and embrace that because that is something that I like dead ass have not done enough of. I wasn't taught to do that. I wasn't pushed to be risky. I was trained and like learned very on that risk is dangerous. So
Mm,
I was so rigid and wanted to be perfect and wanted to be doing the things right that I didn't learn the true value of failure. I want to say if you never failed all those times in life, I would not have had the chance to connect with you. If you didn't fail in all those times in your life, you would have not have made the impact you've already made on community that just sprouted out of the internet, out of a video a year ago. If you didn't go through all those failures, you would not have the courage to answer the call that said, start the Open Dome podcast, no matter what
Mhm.
setbacks or what's going on. I think that's beautiful. And I want to thank you because
Dude,
that
thank
to me, you don't even know it, but that to me is inspiring. It's convicting. And I know people listening right now can say the same thing. They're nodding their head. We see you, we
you.
hear you, we feel you. I want I had something to, like, end that with, but I lost it because I'm getting I'm getting, like, emotional expressing that gratitude, like,
Dude,
seriously, your
dude,
failures are beautiful, they're not
thank you.
just failures, they're the lessons that we need. They're what got you here, and we wanna
100%.
thank you for that. Man,
You're amazing. I'm so glad to have you. I'm so glad to know you. Thank you for that.
thank you.
Thank you for that. And thank you for being a part of this because I can bet your ass that if it weren't for you having experienced what you have experienced as well, you probably would not be here having this conversation right now, nor would you be able to articulate things the way you do, which I genuinely appreciate so much.
That is the best compliment I can receive because
Well, that's great because
words are
I've got more. Because here's the
Oh,
thing, dude.
okay,
All right,
okay.
here's the
She
thing.
said, "That's
Here's
great,
the
shut
thing.
up, I'm about to go."
I can really appreciate when somebody I know that not only somebody has been through a lot of life, has experienced a lot of life and a lot of very diverse life experiences as well, but the ability to communicate the way that you are so able to fluidly communicate is so special. And it's not something that everybody's good at. And I know you probably think the same about me, and that's why we're having this conversation.
I
But
do.
how beautiful to be able to, like, communicate with somebody else who is also who has spent so much time. I know you spent so much time in your head because of the way you can communicate things. The way you are also able to, like, so vividly paint a picture, from your thoughts alone and, give that to somebody. It's like, "Here, look at my painting."
Bring it out.
Thing.
I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
it's
bring it
okay.
out, don't make me don't make me show it to him.
It's okay. There's a cat hair in my mouth. Hold on one.
Don't look at the camera, Sela.
I can't. No.
Don't look. Get the cat hair out, but don't look. Chat, how
Um,
we rocking with this? How we rocking?
you didn't even tell me what it was. You just told me what it kind of looked like.
If you know, you know, some
It's
things
an
don't need it
alien.
what's understood don't need to be said. Exactly, it was
See?
an alien. It was an
Yeah.
alien.
See, I know. I know my own kind.
Yeah, right? Yeah, you know the
Yeah.
kind. I do wanna ask that question, but I just
Maybe you should just ask it.
I I I just know it's gonna cause us to go into another 20,
You
30
can cut me
minutes.
off whenever you want me to.
I'm not gonna cut you off. I do wanna say this for those listening. I do wanna say, if we could leave you with anything from this podcast episode, like, if you the shenanigans aside, like, just take this for what it is, face value, let it affect you, listen, absorb,
Marinate.
let it marinate. One, it's gonna be painful, but you gotta fail more. If I could, use you as an example, Sela, I bet you all the moments that I just gave you props for that I said were beautiful, all the failures in your life, they didn't feel that impactful in the moment. They probably hurt like fuck, right? You probably didn't see the other side of them, right? But the beauty in all of that is that we can look back on that with the awareness that we have and realize we don't know that life-changing moments, perspective gaining moments in our life, they are rarely going to feel impactful or important until after the fact. They're
Listen.
always going to hurt. And a quote that reminds me of that is it's never going to feel like you're making history in the moment. It's actually going to feel like the quite opposite.
Ooh.
It's going to feel like the foundation under you is crumbling. The very rock you stood on, the beliefs you stood on, the ones you hold dear to your heart are being ripped away from you. But that is when history is being made. That is when you are physically changing the course of your life forever. So if you could take
True.
one thing from this, listeners, it's don't be afraid of the pain. The very pain of embarrassment, the pain of failure is exactly that dream life that you want. That is the cost of entry right there. You need to
I
show up
agree.
for
I agree. And let
you
me
need
add
to
on to
show up
that
for
with
that.
a little tidbit too. I definitely, through my experiences with the amount of pain that I have felt in my personal life, small and large, there is liberation that comes from that. And I think with enough of it, as crazy as this sounds, because I think anybody who experiences any type of hurt or pain, you experience enough of it. And then you're like, I'm good. Like, I don't need more of this, And that has its own effect on us, right? But
Mhm,
I think it's like that extra step further. It's like more pain than you asked for, more hurt than you asked for. It's just a series of unfortunate events, and it's circumstantial sometimes. It's like you're getting more of that pain than you would have liked, which happens
mhm,
to a lot of us, right? But when you are in that space and you recognize, like, I don't deserve this. This is more than I would like to be experiencing right now because that's how fucking painful it is. The interesting thing about this is that is actually where we find, in my opinion, liberation through our pain. And it
mm,
get that because that amount of it is enough to show you, I guess, a different side of things that you
mhm,
would not see with just a little bit of pain
mm,
or a little bit of hurt. And like, who are we to compare, each other's pain? You can't
mhm,
measure that. But when it's just you and you're measuring the levels of pain you have experienced, there's little bits of pain over here, there's really big bits of pain, and there's traumatizing pain.
mm.
And when you've experienced it all and you're getting past that point of traumatizing pain, you're like, I've had enough of this." Here's the thing, you're going to still experience that level of pain if that's what you're sitting in. However, it will bring you to a point if you can integrate the lessons coming from it. If you can get through that, if you can navigate your ass through that tunnel of pain, you will be able to sit with pain even after that
Mhm.
and recognize it as being a gift. And
It's almost
it's when
oh,
you're
sorry.
sitting in that, no, 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 you're fine. It's when you're sitting in that depth of darkness that you realize that it's not a negative thing. But it is only past that detrimental level of pain that we all, I think, experience at different times in our life.
Oof, oof,
That you can actually recognize that it's not a bad thing. And when you get to that point of liberation within yourself, your entire life will change forever.
mm,
Your entire life, because you will never be the same after that. Not
mm.
because you've been through that much pain, but because now you see that pain as the most beautiful thing that could happen to you.
Your pain wasn't happening to you to cause you more. It was God, life, your antenna showing you something is not here. There is a lesson to be learned. And the more pain you continue to go through is because you're not allowing it to show you what it really is. You have to
Mm,
alchemize that moment. Like you
yeah.
said, you have to let it take you through the ringer, but then you have to make the conscious choice to say, this is happening to show me something. It's it's a course corrector. Pain is
Mm,
trying to correct your course to show you something is not in alignment. But most of us do everything we can to avoid more and more pain. We do everything we can to ease
it's
it,
valid.
to cope with it. My God. And you
But
know what?
it's,
I'm not
mm,
perfect in any way. There's so much I'm
no,
still avoiding. There's so much familiarity with pain too. Like it can
yeah.
creep in to where you numb it to the point where you don't realize you're still avoiding it.
It's
Oof.
crazy.
Oof.
It's excuse sorry. Come here. I agree.
Yeah,
I
I think Roger agrees too. He's like, "Yeah, I'm in pain right now. Don't pick me up."
Nah, he's chilling, dude. He's a happy boy.
Dude, I don't wanna end this. I don't wanna cut this short,
You're good.
but
I know you gotta get out of here, but I
yeah,
appreciate you so much. So
look,
much, dude.
if I could outro us, I wanna say everything we've said here, listen to it again. Take the meat, leave the bones. But if you got the time, I've been Dill the Nomad. You can check me out on everything, mainly TikTok. I talk about this in my own perspective. You know Sela, that's why you're here. She talks about these same exact things in her own perspective as well. It was an incredible opportunity to be a part of this. And I want to say I think this should be the catchphrase. You know, you can keep it if you want. I'll take credit. But
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
if you don't do anything today, please do these two things. Recognize that the dome exists and throw a fucking rock through that bitch. That dome.
Oh, snap.
Clock it!
You're great. You're the best. Oh yeah. I'm
Awesome.
Sela.
Sheila, thank
So glad to have you guys. I will see you in the next podcast. Maybe you'll see Dill too.